How's it going, everybody? This is a beginner's guide to No Wrong Warp in Dark Souls Remastered. If you're just getting started speedrunning Dark Souls, or are interested in speedrunning Dark Souls, and specifically No Wrong Warp in this case, I wanted to make a video that explains some of the basic tricks and glitches used throughout the speedrun in kind of a one-stop shop sort of way. I won't be covering the high-end optimizations of the run. Instead, this is going to be showing the general routing and general tricks used that are a little bit more simple to learn, a little bit more easy to implement, as well as a general explanation of how those tricks and skips and glitches actually work and how you perform them. So with that all being said, let's get started with character creation. So name your character anything you want. I'll just call him John Souls, and it doesn't matter male or female, you can pick either. Class, you're going to want to pick Thief, and the reason is because he starts with the Master Key, and that allows us to pick a different gift as opposed to picking the Master Key in the first place. For the gift, we're going to be picking the Black Firebomb, which is going to have several applications across the run, but mostly used in the Asylum for the Asylum Demon. Physique doesn't really matter. You can pick whatever you like, it's just aesthetic, as well as the face, hair, and color. You're just going to spam through this most of the time and get to accept. So before we start, I'm going to show a sped up version of the Asylum while I explain a basic principle that you are not going to see for the rest of this video just for simplicity's sake, but will save time overall in the long run, and that would be toggling. Typically done between two open slots in your right hand. Toggling allows you to reach your top speed faster from a standstill. So when you start sprinting, if you toggle between two empty slots, the top half of your animation moves forward a little bit faster and it allows you to reach that top speed faster. So anytime that you are starting to sprint, if you toggle, you'll reach your top speed faster. This is used all across the run whenever you start sprinting, if you're able to. You don't want to be toggling, for example, if you have the Black Knight Halberd in one slot and an empty slot in the other. This is actually slower. So it really is between two empty slots most of the time. There are some examples where that's not the case, but typically that's what you're going to want to look out for. And again, we're not going to be seeing this for the rest of the video, but do know that it applies anytime you start sprinting. So immediately after hitting OK, we're going to want to skip this initial cutscene, and along with any other cutscenes, you're just going to want to skip as quickly as you can. And upon loading into the Asylum, we're going to follow the initial route as normal, but we are going to want to unequip our armor and equip the dark sign at one of two places. The more optimal location is going to be this very first ladder that's about to come up, and I show that you are able to continue to climb up while accessing your inventory. A slightly easier place to do it is this door. The difference isn't very big, but you can do it at either place. And immediately when the door opens, we're going to run over to this pile of rubble, and right as you get to the start, we're going to throw 3 firebombs in the direction where the Asylum Demon falls. Dodge when he attacks. Typically you can buffer this, but you just need to pay attention. Throw 2 more firebombs after you've dodged. And now we're going to run into this hallway. Now this hollow can shoot 1 or 2 arrows. In this case, he's shooting 2. If he does that, what you're going to want to do is just run around him to the right, like this. But here's an example of what to do if he shoots only 1 arrow. So after running past the hollow, we're going to get up to Oscar, and normally we would use the boulder at the top of the stairs to break the wall to access Oscar, but we can do a little bit better. As long as you are standing close enough to the door, typically you want to just be right next to it. If you reload the game, if you quit out and reload the game, the animation of you standing up will break that wall. Typically what you'll want to do is run over from that section and quit out during that animation, just so you can keep moving forward while also performing a quit out. It doesn't save a ton of time, but this is what it looks like. When you load in, you're going to want to spam through Oscar's dialogue as fast as possible, and you can do this by both hitting A on your controller and the prompt button on your keyboard and just go back and forth between them. I guess I didn't show it here, but yeah, you can spam between both those to get through the dialogue much faster, as you can see. And once the two keys show up, you're going to want to use your dark sign, and it's going to send you back to a bonfire that the game automatically loads for you. It's this one here. You don't need to sit down at it. It automatically makes that your respawn point for using the dark sign at that location. We're going to run over to the door and perform a quit out. And the reason we do quit outs at doors is it skips the animation of the door opening, and upon reloading the game, we can just start running right away. We're going to take one more second to explain a trick that is going to be used a couple times throughout the run, but immediately after we get to Firelink Shrine, so it's relevant to talk about it right now. And the trick is called prompt swap, which is essentially the act of opening two menus at the same time. In this case, both the items menu and the brightness menu. And we're going to be doing this for the purpose of duplicating this humanity in our inventory. So these are the two menus that we'll want to have open. And to accomplish this, we're going to hover over brightness in the select menu, and we're going to hit A and then R1 back to back, very, very, very quickly. You'll want to experiment with this timing, practice it. It is consistent once you learn it, but this is what it looks like when the two menus do overlap. You can see the inventory in the back and the brightness menu in the foreground. We're going to want to scroll down 3 on our D-pad to the humanity in our inventory. You can't see it, but it is selected. And then we hit OK. For this next part, we're going to want to move the highlighted options select down to brightness without moving that menu that you can see in the background where use item is highlighted. So to do this, you hit either left or right on the D-pad and then down on the D-pad immediately after. And you'll see options jump down to brightness without moving use item in the background. And this is what that looks like. So you can see now that brightness is highlighted, but use item is still highlighted in the background. Once this is the case, we can scroll down to quit game, and then we can hit A. And once we hit down on the D-pad, you'll notice that the number 99 comes up. This has to do with how the game handles the item storage value upon exiting and reloading a game. But we can go ahead and just hit OK now, and we'll, instead of using 1 humanity, we'll use 99 humanities. We're going to jump back into the run now. So this is just after we quit out at the Asylum door, and we're going to run straight to Firelink Shrine. The reason we just talked about prompt swap is because this is essentially where you would want to do it if you're just starting to learn the trick. I would recommend doing it at Firelink Shrine if it's a trick that takes you a little bit of time to get correctly. But otherwise, follow this path onto the elevator, and ideally, you do the prompt swap while you're riding down the elevators. And that's what this is right here. So this is just a much faster version of what we just watched. We're going to run and jump out to the right, roll when we hit the floor, and we're going to use the master key, since we picked Thief, on this door. Now this item right here, I recommend for beginners to pick up. You can duplicate the soul a little bit later, but for more intermediate advanced players, I would recommend skipping it. So stick on the left path and jump. It's faster than using that plank bridge over at the start. This is the next item we're going to pick up. This is an item we want to pick up no matter what. It's the main soul Even for optimal runs, that's the soul you're going to want to pick up, so don't forget that one. And this upcoming Drake has really mainly two options of attacks. It can either do a swooping attack to the side or a straightforward attack. If it does the swooping one like this, you want to run to the left side of it. If it does the straight one, you want to run to the right side of it. Now, this is where RTSR is located, up on that tower. We're not going to be picking it up for this run, just for simplicity's sake, to keep things simple and just to not have to explain as much. But once you get comfortable with the tricks in this video, you'll want to use RTSR. So this next trick, we're going to send the elevator up, get ready to quit out, run out, and quit out. This is called an up warp. So the game thinks your position is on the elevator, so it respawns you at the top once you fall off. And then you can run right past here. You can pick up this bonfire if you are uncomfortable with this next part, but we are going to now pick up the grass crest shield right down here, quit out, and then we're going to kill this Black Knight. Upon reloading the game, we're going to turn around immediately and sprint in the direction we just came from. And we're going to run up this little slope on the side here as the Black Knight attacks. Sometimes he'll fall off, sometimes he won't. If he doesn't fall off, all you do is you backstab him immediately afterwards, and he'll fall off then. Afterwards, you're going to want to equip the grass crest shield. I messed up and equipped the halberd, but this just allows you to sprint more often on the way to Andre. We're going to immediately turn on this smaller path here so we can go pick up the longbow here. This is mainly used for Bed of Chaos, but can be used for Ceaseless Skip as well. This next part, we are going to want to unequip the grass crest shield and hit L1 on this crystal lizard, I think they're called, and then immediately throw a firebomb. So lock onto it, hit L1, and then throw a firebomb, and that will always kill it. And you need to kill that one for the twinkling Titanite that we're going to duplicate up at Andre here in just a moment. But for now, we're just going to follow this path, and ultimately we're ending up in the Undead Parish. This upcoming Titanite demon can do a couple of things, but more often than not, the most usual attack is what you're going to see here. He'll turn to the side, shoot a laser. You can run under his weapon and right to the middle, straight to the door. Once we get to Andre, we're going to do a couple of things, but the most important thing is to duplicate this Twinkling Titanite so we can fully upgrade our halberd. So to accomplish this, first we're going to go talk to Andre, and we're going to go to Purchase Item. Then we're going to go over to the Arrows menu and get your mouse out, hover over Wooden Item, don't click it, and then move your mouse up to the top left item, move screen, and you're going to click left click and A back to back until both of these menus pop up. The timing will just take some practice again, but once you're here, you're going to hit down on the D-pad, and then you can go ahead and hit OK. Now after that, we're going to go ahead and duplicate a soul the exact same way we duplicated the humanity at the beginning of the game. Literally the exact same way. You do the same inputs that I described earlier, and you'll get the result of using 633 souls in this case. Now we're going to go back and talk to Andre, and we're going to purchase both the Crest of Artorias and the Weaponsmith box. And then if you're not using RTSR, I recommend buying 999 wooden arrows. You don't need to do this, but if you would like to have an item storage variable that's very high, that's very helpful. So now we're going to go over and we're going to click on the Bastard Sword. We are not going to hit OK. We can either hit cancel or walk away from Andre. But now, I walk up to the bonfire here. What we're going to do is try to do another sort of multiple menu opening thing. So we're going to go again to this quit menu select screen. We're going to get our mouse out. We're going to hover over quick game and then move it over to the item screen. And then we're going to hit left click and A back to back. And again, this is a timing you'll just have to practice. You'll see I mess it up a couple times here. But once they overlap, this is what they look like. And now we're going to get our mouse again. We're going to click on the Titanite icon. We're going to go down and we're going to click on Twinkling Titanite. And then you'll see another menu pop up in the background. And you'll notice that as I move my mouse, in the top left, the prompt changes. So we're going to want to go down to Drop Item, or Drop Selected Item. Click that, and then you're going to hit down on the D-pad yet again. And this is going to pull up minus 632. I won't get into the technical details on why this is happening, but once you hit OK, you'll have 99 Twinkling Titanite. Now, if you picked up that optional soul at the beginning, what you can do now is do yet another prompt swap to duplicate the bigger soul, this soul of a proud knight. And the reason we bought those 999 arrows is we can store that variable so we can use 999 soul of a proud knight. So what we do is we go over to arrows, we click drop, get 999 on screen, and then just hit cancel. Don't hit OK, just hit cancel. Then we're going to do the prompt swap glitch again. Literally the exact same way. No change at all. All the steps are the same. And then we'll use 999. Now we can sit down at this bonfire here. And the first thing we're going to do is not do that. We're going to sit down and we're going to reinforce our halberd all the way to +5. Afterwards, we're going to go to level up, and I highlight here the stats that are the most important to level to is you want to level endurance to 40, and you want to level dexterity to 18. Dexterity to 18 so you can wield the halberd, as you want to put most of your points into strength. And you're going to want 40 endurance, as that's the maximum amount of stamina that you can use for sprinting. For the rest of the points, you are going to want to put them in vitality and strength. You can choose how much you want to do in either. You can choose to have less health, more strength, or more strength and less health. This is just what I'm going to go for in this playthrough. And now we are immediately going to go down and we are going to run to Seath. So we're going to run past this Titanite demon again. The most safe way to do this is just go to the left side here. If he attacks, you can just dodge here just in case. But we're going to run over to this door since we bought the Crest of Artorias already, and we're going to do another quit out to skip the animation of the door opening. So when we load back in, we're immediately going to start sprinting and then jump off this platform. Then you're going to follow around this path with the trees. The further left you go, the more safe you'll be. As you can see, there's a very small chance to be hit by that mage's projectile, but typically a safe enough path. You also want to make sure you equip your halberd before getting to Seath. Best to do that when your stamina is all the way out, just so you have a little bit more time. And then you're just going to try to take as direct of a path as you can to the bridge up to Seath's door. And again, once we hit this door, we're going to perform another quit out. So for most boss fights, I won't be explaining a tremendous amount of detail. There are plenty of setups for plenty of bosses, but a lot of it's going to come down to your own experience with it. Such as I could say, that attack Sif just did is usually what he opens with. but ultimately I'm going to try to keep things more practical, more simple. And the most important piece of advice from this fight is once you kill Seath, you're going to want to use the dark sign, which is going to bring you back to the Undead Parish. So this next trick is a pretty big one. We're going to be skipping directly into Sen's Fortress right now using a trick called Sen's Gate Skip. The general principle behind it is we're going to get ourselves into a death cam by reposting a hollow around this third pillar on the left side. There's a small window around where I'm walking where if you repost in this area, you'll trigger the death cam, but you won't hit the death plane. To set this up, we stand around on the second column from the bottom, somewhat in the middle, slightly towards the left is okay. Then we're going to run up to the left as the hollow comes down, parry, and riposte with an open hand. So let's do an example. I get his attention by using a parry. We run down to the second column, stand about in the middle. Once he comes over the crest here, we're going to lock on, and then we're going to run up towards him and parry. I was a little too high this first time, but the second parry put me right in the zone that needed to work. Now what we're essentially going to do is try to be holding just up on the left analog stick. I know it looks like I'm walking backwards, but most of this trick can be accomplished by just holding the stick forward. It's very, very slight movements to make adjustments while you're in death cam state, but you'll get adjusted to it pretty quickly. And because we're in this state, the gate to Sen's Gate is no longer present, so we can just walk right in. We'll jump and quit out. So now that we're in Sen's Fortress, we're just going to start by sprinting forward past these guys. They can hit you, it can happen, it's pretty rare. And then what you're going to want to do is get your stamina full enough to be running up against either the first or second axe so that you can continue sprinting all the way to the end here. If you line it up that you're running into either the first or second axe, you'll always make it through all the way. From here, it's just going to take a little bit of practice and using dodges, setups on the fly. You can get Sen somewhat consistent, but it can always throw a wrench in the plan. You just need to be on your toes. But we're following the general path so far. Here's where we're going to branch off a bit. So we're going to walk up the staircase just a little bit, jump, and quit out. The reason we do that is because if we had not, there would be a boulder that comes down and will likely hit you. You can technically avoid it, it's just very difficult. This way is a lot safer. If you stay on the very left side here, the arrows won't hit you. And if you've quit out in the right place at the staircase, you'll get the cycle to line up for those axes perfectly. I like to slap this guy out of the way. Sometimes he blocks the path. Same thing with these axes. As long as you can sprint into the first axe, you'll make it through every time. This is a soul that you can pick up if you want to have a bunch more levels put into your character at some point. Again, it's optional. It is a time loss overall, but if you value having more levels in strength and dexterity or vitality, then that's always an option to pick up. It's the closest one on the route. Once we get to this point, we're just going to slap this guy out of the way. And we're going to run into Iron Golem. Now, I'm going to show you the quick kill on Iron Golem. And in fact, I do 2 tries here. I mess up this first one, but I'll explain it. You run past him on the left side, turn around, try to R2 him on his knee or below, and then you hit R1 immediately after as a buffer, and it'll send him down. I messed it up there. I hit him above the knee, or too high up on his leg for it to stagger him initially, but you want to aim for basically his feet with the R2. So this is what it looks like. So you'll run past him on the left, turn around, use an R2, and then buffer R1. That'll send him down. You can wait for the fire, you can roll through the fire. I usually just wait. And then we'll skip the cutscene and be in Anor Londo. Now, in optimal runs, you would ideally go straight for the elevator in this case. You wouldn't bother picking up this first bonfire. But just for the sake of simplicity again and showing just some safeguards you can put into place if you are new to this category, this is a great bonfire to pick up. And it's also, if you would like, you can use your prompt swap again, just like we did earlier, on the soul we picked up in Sen's Fortress. So again, we put 999 into the drop, cancel, and then we go over and we do the prompt swap, the exact same way as all the other times. You can use the time to level up here. You can also do this soul duplication afterwards, after ONS. I'm just showing you that you can do it before as well. Next trick that's coming up is called elevator skip. You can ride the elevator down like normal, but we can get down a lot faster by doing what's called a meme roll off the left side over here. Now what a meme roll is you need to get yourself into a very specific equip load, and this can be accomplished in this category by equipping the halberd, the grass crest shield, and the black leather armor. It's also good to equip the Covenant of Artorias here while you're at it. But while in this state with these items equipped, you will be able to continuously roll in the air. And what we're going to do is we're going to position ourselves around this line, and we're going to roll off the edge and just keep spamming roll until we hit the first platform down here, you'll see. And then once we do, we quit out. Quit out midair. And once you load back in, you'll be on that platform you just rolled off of. And then we'll do the exact same thing. You just spam roll 3 times, and you'll be down. So excuse the cut. I messed up this jump initially, but that's what you want to do. When you're climbing this ladder, remove your armor so you're back into light roll. This painting guardian can run onto your path, so be ready if he does that. He didn't in this case. And now we're going to use this point to jump across to that ledge. I mess it up on my initial try, but this actually gets to show a better angle and what's actually happening. So you'll see my character slide a little bit before I jump. That's what you want to do. And you'll make it across. I leave my camera turned around here as I run to the elevator because there's a small chance that a painting guardian could follow very closely behind you and throw a throwing arrow or a throwing dart. Skip this cutscene. We're going to run around this way. Now the gargoyle can do a whole bunch of things here, so you'll just need to be ready for any of the situations. I don't do it here, but some people like to turn their camera around as they're running up the staircase just to keep an eye on the gargoyle. It's very rare that he'll hit you after you get past him at this point. Dodge this attack if necessary. That's about the only one you need to dodge is when he does the sweep. I do a jump onto this rail and then immediately roll onto this platform. You can take damage walking down this railing. Just for kind of no reason. I don't know the reason. And I keep my camera turned around here just in case they throw a lightning spear, like in this case. Now, as we walk up this part, we're going to listen for the left Silver Knight. and we're going to run up onto the final platform right after he shoots. And you'll notice I did something there. If you hit LB to block after you've done your initial attack, it'll reset your attack animation. So instead of doing the side swing, which would have just hit the wall, I can do another overhead swing immediately and kill the Silver Knight. Now, this is also another optional bonfire to pick up if you're just getting started and not too comfortable with Ornstein Smough yet. So now we're going to make our way to Ornstein Smough. And first we're going to run up the staircase just a little bit until we reach this section where you can see that platform down there. Now around where I'm walking, you're going to want to jump over that railing onto the platform. I mess it up this first time, but this trick is much easier than a lot of the other ones in this video. And now since we're here, we can just run straight to Ornstein Smough. You'll want to roll when you hit the bottom here. I messed that up. And I'm not going to go into too many details about this fight. There's a lot of different openings possible, but some key information to know is that typically Ornstein can be stunned in 2 hits if you hit him quickly. You'll see there, he got stunned, which allows for him to be killed quite quickly. Once you get to Super Smough, you're going to want to try to kill him near one of these 2 fog doors, as close to them as possible, so you can make that first elevator cycle. Ornstein's door on the left here, where we are right now, is a little bit faster. So if you can manage to get Smough over here, that's a little bit better. And the big scary attack that you'll want to watch out for is his lightning strike. So you'll see I make this first elevator cycle by being close enough after killing him. And if you haven't picked up any bonfires yet in Anor Londo, you'll want to have very, very low health here, and I'll explain that in a moment. But we're going to do a quit out on this door. So we're going to throw a firebomb to kill her, and you want to be far forward enough that the bomb is actually able to load and hit her. We'll pick up the Lord Vessel, and so if you've picked up no bonfires thus far in Anor Londo, if you have low enough health to jump off of here and die, it will respawn you at the first bonfire in Anor Londo. Instead, we can just pick this up since we've picked up all the other bonfires, but if we were at the other bonfire, the goal would be the same. We're going to warp to Firelink Shrine. Once we're back at Firelink, we're going to start heading down to the Four Kings, following the same path down here, and if you'll remember, the elevator is still down, but we can do another meme roll here like we did with the elevator in New Londo. So you're going to want to equip the black leather armor again, and also it's important to know, I didn't mention earlier, you need to have 40 endurance for this setup to work. It has to be exactly 40. You're going to position yourself about at the door, and you're going to roll forward, and the goal is to slide a little bit off the edge and fall down. If you slide too far, you'll die. If you don't slide at all, then the trick won't work. But this is what it looks like when done correctly. I slide a little bit, and then you spam roll, and then you'll be out. Now we're going to go ahead and jump off to the left, unequip your armor. You can do it when you land as well. And now upcoming is a trick called Seal Skip. So instead of having to go all the way through New Londo and drain the seal, we can run over to this area, and I'm going to do a quit out here to explain this a little bit better. But we're going to drop off this ledge right here. And when I reload the game back in, you're going to notice there's a platform down there. And surprisingly enough, you can actually get on that platform without hitting the death plane. So it's a little hard to see, but it is down there. And the goal of what we're going to try to do is quit out the moment we hit that platform. So what you do is you get your quit out ready, just like this, hover over OK, and then slightly walk forward. And then the moment you start drooping off, you're going to want to quit out very fast. About that fast. And when we load back in, we're going to be on that platform now. You can see I look up, that's where we started. Now we're going to roll off to this next section. The death cam will activate again, so we quit out to get rid of that. And then we're going to run through this path. So this area is pretty safe. You can actually run through all of these pillars here. I don't, just for the sake of better visibility. We're going to drop down here. And we're going to run just through this little wall section. Now this is where we're going to drop into the Four Kings fight. And when we do, the moment we hit the bottom, we're going to drop an item, typically a Titanite chunk. And the reason we do this is it serves as a marker where after you kill the first king, you can run back towards that item, and that's where the second king is going to spawn. It's also good to make sure you have your ring equipped, and we can drop in. So let's get ready to drop the item. There we go. You can run over to that glowing mass. That's where the first king is going to spawn. And the general principle in the Four Kings fight, if you're just getting started, is to drain the king's health. You can see their health bar as low as you possibly can. And then you're going to do this series of inputs. You're going to do R1 into R1 into R2. All of those will connect if you do that in sequence, and then we're going to run back to that item we placed down. And this is the direction the second king is going to spawn. About that far away. And there he is. Same principle. We'll get his health bar down as low as we possibly can. And then we'll perform that same series of inputs, which is, it's all buffered. It's just R1, R1, R2. So here it is now. R1, R1, R2. What I like to do here is slightly put that item outside the screen and then run forward. I don't have a solid way of getting the third king's positioning correct every time, but this seems to do okay. There's the third king. And again, we're just going to do the exact same thing. We're going to get the king's health as low as possible. If he does this attack, just block with your halberd. It won't do much damage. So get his health as low as you can. And then perform that same set of inputs. The R1, R1, R2. In this case, I only needed to do an R1 here, so I just skipped doing the R2. But there you've killed the 4 kings in just 3 kings. I pick up this bonfire. Optimally, you don't, but where we're going to want to warp back to the abyss. Make sure you hit yes. Don't just spam through and hit no when you're talking to Koth. And then we're going to go ahead and place the Lord Vessel. So at this point, we can determine which Lord we want to go for next. It doesn't really matter. You can do Seath, you can do Bed of Chaos, you can do Nito. In my speedrun, I do Nito first, so we're going to go ahead and go to Firelink Shrine, but if you wanted to do Seath, you could go to Anor Londo. Bed of Chaos is also going to be Firelink Shrine. And really there's nothing to say here in this initial part going down to Nito. We just go to the catacombs the same regular way. Best thing you can do here is just manage your stamina well. So once we cross through this gap here, we're going to want to stay kind of towards the left side to bait out this skeleton's jump attack, so we can just run right by him. When we fall here, we roll at the bottom. And then we can do the same trick with doors with this lever. Once you hit it, you can quit out. Now we're going to go ahead and run back the normal way. And at this point, we are going to skip the entirety of the catacombs using another meme roll. So we're going to get that set up, put the armor on, except this time we're going to want to have an open hand. And the reason for this is we're going to walk off a ledge here that I'm going to walk up to now. We're going to walk off, do a plunge attack, and then we're going to spam roll. It's going to roll 2 times, and we're going to be totally safe at the bottom. But this is what it looks like. So you walk off, plunge attack, roll twice. Then just be careful, watch out for the bone wheels. And once you get to the fog gate, you can unequip your armor. You can jump into the arena to get a little bit further ahead. But pinwheel's pinwheel. Nothing you really gotta say here. You can spam A at this point to try to clip into this ladder early. It's not super consistent. And then roll here to the other ladder. I didn't do it right away, but it's faster if you just roll right from ladder to ladder. Then I'm going to walk a little bit slowly here to show you the path, since it's going to be pretty dark. We're going to come off this second pillar thing, and we're going to walk across this ledge until we come to this small pile of rocks you'll see here. These 4 rocks. And what we're going to want to do is, once we reach this point, we're going to want to jump in about the direction my character is facing. We'll land on this platform, and now we're going to do another jump. This time we're going to be facing down there towards the lava. We'll slide here. Now normally, if you don't want to pick up the bonfire, we can just go the direction my character is facing. I'm going to show you that the bonfire is right back here, just in case you aren't comfortable doing Tomb of the Giants in the dark yet. So from this point, just kind of run forward until you hit the wall. And then what you're going to want to do is just hug the right side of the wall and run around. There is a trick here where you can jump down past this fog wall, but I'm going to show you the easier route where you just use the fog wall. You aim for that little thing sticking up out, just keep running towards it, you'll fall off. Keep walking forward, fall off again. I roll twice, you'll fall off again. Now we're going to aim for dropping straight into the hole, which is right about here. And we are done with Tomb of the Giants. So that section really is just going to take practice and getting used to. But once you know it, it's very simple, it's very straightforward. And from here on out, we just continue normal up to Nito. You want to watch out for these 2 guys. Just be ready to dodge any of them if they decide to do the fireball attack. Now we can jump into the Nito fight. So I'm just doing Nito just the vanilla normal way here, but I'll take some time to explain a couple of things. First of all, skeleton management is super important. I actually don't do such a great job in this fight, but I do well enough. One thing to note that never happens in this fight, many of you know Nito has that scream attack where the blade comes up through the ground. If you're using the halberd and two-handing it, if he does that scream, all you have to do is stand still and hold LB and block. The sword will go right through you but take no damage at all. If he does his big AoE attack like he just continues to do here, make sure you have enough health. Otherwise, you can keep attacking. Now when Nito's dead, you're going to want to use the dark sign to quit out pretty much the moment his sword touches the ground. Right there. And wherever you sat last at a bonfire will be where you spawn. Now we can warp again to, we can either do Seath, or we can do Bed of Chaos in this case. I'm going to do Bed of Chaos. In which case we go to Firelink Shrine. Next up is going to be Bed of Chaos, and we're going to start by heading down towards Blighttown. What I like to do on this elevator is change the order of the humanity in our inventory so it's either in the second or fourth slot. This allows us to do the prompt swap glitch and duplicate that humanity later just a little bit more easily. So coming up is a trick called Blighttown Skip, which is a combination of a meme roll and a slope quit out. So essentially what's happening here is we're going to be performing a meme roll for a little bit, and then as we're falling, we're going to get a quit out ready, and the moment we hit the ground, the bottom of Blighttown, we're going to quit out. So first we get into the meme roll setup, and we're going to position ourselves on the end of this little spike here. And I'll quit out because this guy was running towards me. But what we're going to do is we are going to start our rolling by aiming towards the very edge of that sideways plank you can see, kind of aim for the corner where those two beams meet. And we're going to roll there and then keep rolling either a little bit forward or right, as you see here, and then get quit out ready and quit right when you hit the ground. This will take some practice, but it is a trick that you can get a lot more consistent at. Once we're at the bottom, we're going to unequip our armor and start rolling through the poison swamp. Make sure to dodge this guy's attack. And then we'll just go ahead and run straight to Quelaag. I don't have much to say regarding this fight. It's pretty straightforward. There's not really much you can do to make it faster except for using the red tier stun ring. Otherwise, you just kill her as fast as possible and watch out for her AoE attack. Now what we're going to do is go to Quelaag's sister, the one behind the hidden wall down here. And if you don't have a lot of health at this point, you can heal up. It doesn't take too much damage dropping down here. But we'll roll through the fake wall. And typically you'll just kill this guy and then kill all of his little grub things. What I do is I talk to him, and as he's moving out of the way, I do the prompt swap glitch. Now this one's a little bit different. In only the sense that we don't scroll down 3 on the D-pad, we only need to scroll down 1, just like you saw there. Then the rest of the trick is performed the same. So we'll use our 99 humanity, and we are going to go join the Covenant. Afterwards, we're going to give her, you need at least 30 humanity. We can just give her all 99. And at this point, what you can do is just run away from her. If you spam through A, you'll be kind of forced to walk for a little bit. I'm going to turn around and take this bonfire, though. Now we're going to go do a trick called Ceaseless Skip. So instead of having to fight Ceaseless Discharge, we can actually make it across the lava without having to fight him at all. And to do this, there's a couple ways you can go about setting this up. What I like to do is, first of all, you have to have your halberd unequipped. I equip the bow. You'll slide down this platform and roll at the very bottom to avoid taking damage. Get around to this pillar, and then you're going to aim at around this dark spot on the ground. It doesn't have to be super precise, but you'll see the Capra Demon down there is just going to walk off to his death. Now, here's what we're going to do. We'll have an empty hand. We're going to run to about the location I'm standing, and we're going to jump off onto that slope down there. We're going to do a plunge attack like we did in the Catacombs, and then spam roll onto that platform at the bottom. So this is what that looks like. You do a jump, plunge attack, and roll. So from this point, you can see that's where we just came from. You'll need to just put some practice into learning where the safe spots are in this zone. I'll try to do a decent example of showing you. Right here, there's a dangerous spot you can roll past. You can avoid damage here. If you just walk off this ledge, you won't take damage. You can then roll, and then roll up onto this. You can then jump from this to the next platform. It's safe around the middle spot. And then we're going to roll onto this corner, this corner, this corner, and up onto the platform. Finally, you can just jump straight from this platform to the end. So that whole section is just going to take practice. It's not super intuitive where the locations where you actually take damage are. It just takes some game sense, some practice, just getting used to it. Once we're here, we're going to drop off this edge and roll a couple of times to avoid this centipede's attack. And since we gave those 99 humanities to Quelaag's sister, we can just walk instead to the door that skips pretty much all of Izalith, which is down this way. Again, best thing you can do in this section is just manage your stamina well. We're going to perform a quit out at this door. So there are a couple ways you can deal with this upcoming Titanite demon. You can just run straight by him. It's likely that he'll attack. What you can do instead to manipulate it is punch his tail and then run behind him. That way it guarantees he's not going to hit you with a melee attack. And I keep my camera looked behind me because at any point he can do his lightning attack. He didn't in this case. Now we just walk up the roots. And we're going to be at Bed of Chaos. For this witch right here, if you manipulate her right, you can run on the inside of her. I messed it up and paid the price, as you can see. It's always safer just to go around her on the outside. And the very first thing we're going to do when we get to the bottom here is run straight to the middle of Bed of Chaos. Basically just right to the center where the roots are initially blocking your path. If you just keep sprinting, he won't hit you. Now he's going to do this attack here, which, again, will miss. And then he's going to kind of forget you exist. He's just not going to do anything while you're here. Now we're going to walk 7 tiles forward. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we turn around to stand on the 6th tile. 2-hand our bow, and we're going to aim for 2 knots here. This is the first knot. You'll want to basically aim at the knot and then throw a firebomb. The other knot that we want to aim for is this one right here. So if you aim for those knots, go out of aim, and then throw a firebomb, it'll hit the orb. So we throw one there, aim for the other knot, throw a firebomb, and then we can just roll towards the middle. And all you need to do is just slap this guy with an open hand. And you'll use your dark sign the moment he explodes into the white mist. So now we've only got one more Lord Soul to attend to, and that's Seath. So we're going to warp to Anor Londo. We're going to go ahead and run to the Duke's Archives. Again, best thing to do here is just manage your stamina well. And we're just going to go ahead and roll through this guy. Make sure you let your stamina bar refill enough so that you can continue to sprint. Otherwise, he might hit you if you're walking. You can just keep running around this guy. If the boars do happen to follow you all the way to the elevator, the moment you're done with this animation, just roll forward. I didn't have to in this case. So, we are going to get set up for the final meme roll we're going to do in this run. It's going to be coming up at the second elevator. First, we're just going to get through to that elevator. There's a lot of variables in the pathing here. This is generally the path you want to take. And where you pull this lever, we're going to quit out the moment it hits the back. And when we respawn, we're going to be on the right-hand side platform. And what we're going to do is we're going to lock on to the guy on the stairs, roll into the column on the left, roll right, and then quit out in the air. And this is actually an up warp to the railing of the elevator, which is now at the top. So we're going to spawn on the rail, and all we do is just spam roll backwards. You can slap this guy. And I suppose I lied. There's one more meme roll. It's this one right here. All we're going to do is we're going to start spamming roll at that very final line. Right there. If you want, I already opened this lever. I failed to gravity, which you'll see later. But if you're new to the run, you can pick up this bonfire back here. You'll want to pull this lever as well. I already did this. And there's a fog door here you'll have to walk through. So for either one of those animations, on the lever or on the fog wall, you're going to want to take off your armor. I just happened to do it on the ground because I'd already activated those two things. So going to the right of this tree is safer. You can do this, though, on the left. And I'm not going to show it here because it's a little bit more advanced of a trick, but there's a skip called Crystal Cave Skip that you do at the end of this prism thing here, which skips this entire running section that you're about to see coming up. It's about a 25 to 30 second time save depending on how quickly you get it. Otherwise, this is the path you'll follow. And as you can see, this is where gravity took my life. Dodge past this guy, and this is the area where Crystal Cave Skip ends up. So that whole running section up to that point is what you skip by doing the trick. If you want to learn it, I would suggest a video by Catalysts, I think it was. I think his video on it is pretty good, but a little bit advanced for the tricks used in this video, I think. So I just run into Seath's boss fight to show you that even if you get clams in the arena, you can deal with it just fine. So at this little section of rocks there that stick up a bit, you can jump and activate the fight early. And this is where you can use your last firebomb. I miss, but you can hit that crystal early and run to Seath faster. Otherwise, you just break it normally. So I go ahead and deal with these guys. You technically don't need to. You can just weave your way around them the whole fight. So the only attack you want to watch out for on Seath is this one, his big AoE. As long as you can avoid that, you'll be fine. This is also a fight that really highlights the impact of using Red Tearstone Ring. You know, albeit it's a lot more risky to set up getting here, but this fight goes probably 3 times, 4 times as fast when you have the ring active. So when you kill Seath, we're gonna again use the Dark Sign, but this time it's gonna be when his chest hits the floor. So now. And finally, all we've got to do is warp to the Abyss, since that's our way to access the Firelink altar. We go ahead and talk to Koth and choose warp. Skip through the cutscenes. And then we're going to go ahead and offer all of the Lord Souls. Finally, all that's left to do is kill Gwyn. So in just getting there, again, the best thing you can really do is manage your stamina well and try your best to avoid the attacks from the Black Knights. After you run over this hill here, I like to kind of aim towards that central pillar you see in the middle of the screen. That lines you up well to get up on this platform. This upcoming Black Knight can attack either early or late. If he attacks early, you may need to dodge. Just be careful for that. As well as all of these guys. All of these guys have attacks that can hit you. Most of the time you'll be able to just run by them, but you just need to be on your toes. And now we've got Gwyn. So for Gwyn, you're just going to need to practice getting his parry times right, but you start off by doing the first parry. And then a nice strategy is you walk behind him, drink an Estus flask, and it's going to bait out this slower attack that's easier to parry. And then we'll parry him again. We'll just repeat this. Drink an Estus, bait out the slow attack. Sometimes it doesn't work, but you can just reset it again. Walk behind him, drink an Estus, and parry. And even though he's only got just a tiny bit of health left, we don't want to just hit him. We want to kill him with a parry. And this is because it immediately spawns the bonfire, as opposed to having to wait for it to spawn after the victory achieved. You can see, boom, bonfire right away. So Gwyn's fight is really just going to come down to you getting comfortable learning those parrying times. It just takes a bit of practice, but once you get used to it, it's pretty automatic. So as I let the credits play, I'm just going to say a couple things. A big reason why I'm making this video in the first place is when I was initially learning this speedrun, I had to find out all of the information, all the tricks and glitches and skips that I used very gradually and over a pretty long period of time. I will admit that's partially probably just me not being very good at finding information, but I wish there was some resource that just had everything kind of bundled up into one, and that's kind of what I'm hoping to accomplish with this video. It's by no means an optimal run. It's by no means showing the best possible way to do every section of the game, but it is highlighting a lot of the key tricks and key routing used that I think could really give a leg up to a new runner who doesn't know anything about any of the glitches or any of the routing. I tried to keep things as simple as I could. I apologize if any of that was too complicated to follow. I want to end this video by giving a special thank you to everyone over at the Soul Speedrunning Discord. They have been instrumental in helping me learn routing, glitches, skips, getting setups for things that I just couldn't quite figure out on my own for some reason. They've just genuinely been so helpful and so kind about it all, so I just want to give a big thank you to all of you guys. And also, I know a lot of YouTubers will end their videos with, leave a like and subscribe, but I don't really mind. Just do what you want. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you learned a thing or two, and I hope you all just have a great day. See ya.